Minecraft gave us this hint about the next update, and then we got a confirmation from a developer that it's not talking about the date, and so it's obvious this must be referring to seasons, right? Especially with that calendar, but actually, no. Mojang's actions tell us exactly what we should expect from the next drop, and it seems weird that we didn't even notice, but first, seasons. This is an idea with 19,000 upvotes on the suggestion site, and people seem to think that the flowers mean spring, the sun means summer, and the calendar represents the rest of the year, and then they point to a sliced line season pack that he's just released, and they say, wow, if the Minecraft Java tech lead is working on this, that's how you know Mojang are enthusiastic. However, what a lot of people didn't see, even though I included it in my last video, is that he specifically says that this update is being included in all kinds of speculation, and he wants to repeat very clearly, this project has nothing to do with my job or what is going on with future updates, none of my side projects do. Then going even further to say that I'm not the person to answer what has or hasn't been decided from a design point of view, and that's true. Minecraft have a vanilla gameplay design team, which probably aren't thinking about seasons, because if we look at the other two pieces of evidence, the emojis first of all, as Cactus says, well, wouldn't we get some kind of fall and winter emoji if it was to mean seasons? Right now there's 2 emojis for spring and 1 for summer. That's really off balanced and doesn't make a lot of sense personally, and so really the only major point of evidence is that lots of players want seasons, 19,000 in fact, but if we use community sentiment as our primary source of reasoning, well then 19,000 people want this, but lots of people like Giggle Dude don't, and even more people want fruit trees, 42,000 in fact. This is the most upvoted suggestion, and so if they're just going to purely use the community sentiment, then fruit trees could be coming first. Indeed, looking at this, you can either go the heuristic route where he says, well, the mulip is a pun on the tulip, which I think is fun, or instead you could say, no, those are 2 flowers and a sun. This is clearly meant to be a gardening update or a plant life update, but again, I think that if we look at what Mojang have said, it lines up with what MouseGolo3 gets to here, where she almost gets it, because the perfect time to add fireflies would be during the transition from summer to spring. Indeed, kind of looking at these emojis here, but indeed, take a second to look at what Mojang have actually been doing in the last few updates. With the exception of the Garden Awakens, which was brand new content coming out of nowhere, we've had a very consistent theme of Minecraft going back to bring out old content that was announced and then later cancelled. This has basically been exclusively confined to 2020, where they announced one of the best Minecraft lives ever, but many of the features had to be delayed, but the Deep Dark came in 1.19, Archaeology came in 1.20, and the final part, the bundle, came just a couple of months ago in the Bundles of Bravery drop, and so everything they announced in 2020 has officially came to the game, with maybe just the tiniest exception being the mob vote losers. You could easily argue the Isolager, the second place, or the Moobloom, the third place mob, could come in there, and obviously the Moobloom sort of fits the flower theme, but I think instead they're saying, yeah, we officially finished the Caves and Cliffs update, every single feature that we said would come to the game has, and the only exceptions you can now raise are what they said would come in 2021 but couldn't deliver on. This was the last year that they are, kind of promised more than they could deliver, and it's the reason they shifted their update announcements to be a lot more muted, and a big part of why is how many people still bring up this Firefly. It's a 2-pixel mob that wouldn't have been that fun for gameplay, but the fact that many people still come up with it all these years later is proof that people get attached to things they see, and even if it's purely for ambience, that's enough for reason to want them. So Fireflies are a great thing you could talk about, but they don't really link to these emojis. But do you know what does? The other features they announced but didn't bring to the game this year, that's right, we're bringing up the birch forest. This is my personal Firefly in terms of how much I care, but if you look at it, you can see very clearly it's a very sunny day here, and they would have changed the birch forest trees slightly, but the much bigger change to the biome would have been all of this wildlife, specifically flowers. Here is Alex picking some flowers, here are some flowers right in front of Steve, and all over the biome there are brand new flowers we don't currently have in Minecraft. When they were planning to update the birch forest as part of the world update, they were going to add a ton of flowers, and they also showed off this concept art of the birch forest in the background while hanging out in the new mangrove swamp, and you can see not just some fireflies, don't count how many pixels they're made out of, but also some flowers in that birch forest in the background, confirming that is one of their big plans for it. And indeed, looking at this image, looking at the hint we got, every single one of the emojis makes perfect sense here, besides maybe the calendar, which, like we said before, must be a hint about the timing. I think that this would be the most logical way for Minecraft to win back the community, because they have been making a big effort to finish all of their features they've announced but then haven't brought to the game, and this is the last big remaining set. Fireflies and the birch forest are the 2 remaining features that they said would come to the game that haven't come to the game, and even though I think most of us have just accepted it probably wouldn't, it seems like it perfectly matches with their hint. The only other features you could maybe argue they've said they will bring but haven't are things from previous losers of the mob and biome votes, but that is a much bigger expectation, much bigger deal, and will maybe happen over a much longer period if Mojang even feels an obligation to it whatsoever. Sorry, Moo Bloom, I totally vote for you, and according to this comment from Trishiao8212, apparently over 200 people would as well, but the last time they added a loser, it was a second place, the Swamp. It's the only time a loser's ever been added, and the Moo Bloom sadly came third in its vote, although you could argue for various reasons. Anyway, coming back into the main point here, what do you think Minecraft should add in the next update? I saw a very popular post today say that there clearly needs to be more than two liquids, water and lava. We need new liquids, kind of proving that Minecraft's community has a lot of different wants, and I hope that Minecraft finds a way to satisfy at least some of them. The only hints that they have dropped have been this single post that says what an arm, and we'll come back to what this hints at later, but first I want to share something that blew my mind while I was looking at comments to find for this video. One of them was, you should reconsider which words are capital in your title, and you know, I can't help but realize that every single word in this title could be emphasized with capitals, and it would change the meaning entirely, but we'll leave that to the side for now to say that, hey, thank you Andrew Perkins for saying you love a good Toy Cat challenge. A lot of people have been enjoying diving into them recently. I think hardcore has been the big reinvigorating factor for lots of those, but yeah, also someone gave me a really good tip for the igloo challenge, because if you don't know, I've been trying to survive in a floating igloo. It's been going questionably. No! Okay, so that's a lot of snowballs. That's my furnace, so that's good. That's like the highest quality drop. No, that was not a lot of snowballs. That's a bone. Oh, for God's sake, he's picked up the... Stop being cute with it. Just give it back. Okay, go. Hey, he's going up the ladder. How is that even a behavior a fox knows? How does a fox Oh, perfect. But yeah, the big problem I'm currently trying to solve is the fact that I have no ability to craft, and the only way to do that is to get over 100 blocks away to that tree that is over there. If I want to stay above Y200, that is. And that means I need to get some blocks, but the easiest source of renewable blocks is snow, but you can't break this with your fists. So I either need to find a shovel somehow, or we can use this new tip, which isn't just brewing stands, by the way. As it turns out, any non-solid block, so again, you can see right here, if I break this, then I break the snow, nothing with my fist, but if I break it onto a piece of carpet, I get a snowball, or it drops onto the ground like that. But as you can see, if I do this correctly, if I place it onto a redstone torch, the exact same thing will happen too. Wow, I can collect snowballs, and so for every 4 blocks that I destroy this way, I get 1 snow block, which would be very, very handy. Look at that, I can almost imagine a world where I will get over to the tree, and I'll get the wood that is required to start everything. I'm looking forward to it a lot. I'm also excited that Hannah Joyce found the Unlisted Livestreams playlist. There are a lot of live streams that aren't public on the channel, but you can find them in this playlist always. Very, very handy. Also allows you to see announcements for upcoming streams if they're not set in stone. Some people want to know announcements, but I try not to make a stream public till I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to do it. And similarly, did you know 4J have said that's all from us in 2024. They're taking a break to relax and return refreshed in 2025. This is exciting, a fun little trailer for Reforged 2, but it is worth mentioning this is exactly where Minecraft are at. It's going to be at least a couple of weeks until we see anything new from Minecraft. I mean, besides weird tweets like the what an arm thing, where by the way, what's that in the last panel there? Is that an Enderman hanging out? Ooh, spooky. I think the actual more interesting, if you want to make this a crazy hint, isn't it interesting that of the 5 biomes they chose, 2 of them happen to be the birch forest and the mangrove swamp, the 2 that were featured in that that art from earlier. Very, very interesting if you ask me. But more seriously, yeah, there is going to be a couple week gap from content from Minecraft or from Reforge or from basically any game studio, which gives us an opportunity to truly digest what we've seen and heard over the last year, because I'll be honest, comments like this one from White Pumpkin Enthusiast, I can't blame you by the way for wanting white pumpkins, but this is a comment which was so upvoted at the time. Everyone was saying that Pale Gardens needed the white pumpkins, but now that they're out, if you were to ask Mojang what should you work on as the first feature of 2025, like, would you really want a white pumpkin, or would you prefer they focus their efforts on the Moo Lip or the Moo Bloom or a brand new type of fruit tree? And that's the interesting question I want to leave you with. This is going to be the last Q&A Saturday. except on a Friday, until Christmas. So have a Merry Christmas, everybody who only watches these videos. I know there's some of you out there, and if you are, consider subscribing anyway. Maybe you'll like the fun stuff coming over the next couple of weeks. There's a lot of fun because it's the Christmas time, and that means it's, my equivalent of overtime, which I am excited because it means there's lots of fun stuff to share. Otherwise, I hope you all enjoyed. Have a very wonderful Christmas weekend. Is that a thing? And I'll see you next time. Goodbye.